China has officially dropped Iran completely because they wanted to maintain a decent relationship with the United States. And I remember explicitly getting told by Democrats and morons and third worlders that Trump had no plan. Well, Iran is out of money, Trump is still beefing with the Pope, and to everyone freaking out that we had to deal with a Donald Trump decade, well, it looks like we're going to be dealing with a Donald Trump century, because not even exaggerating, the geopolitical landscape for the next century is being decided this week. And a lot of it happens to involve Donald Trump slapping his schmeat on the table and then blowing up terrorists, which is awesome, actually. A lot of people get confused and they're like, wait a second, blowing up terrorists, they're human beings. Yes, dead human beings. And it's awesome, actually. Stop being a loser. But don't you care about human life? Of course I do, which is why I fully support blowing up terrorists. Man, all roads lead back to blowing up terrorists being awesome, actually. Definitely subscribe for more Nux doctrine. So this is a little announcement from the U.S. military.
The U.S. has announced a formal blockade of Iranian ports and coastal areas. This is a legal action. All vessels are advised to immediately return to port if leaving, and discontinue transit to Iran if that is your next port of call. Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure transiting to or from an Iranian port.
That is correct. That is correct. If you don't like it, we will be turning you into submarine confetti. You might not be happy about this update, but it's happening.
Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force.
That's right.
The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance.
The whole of it. Let's just understand. More soldiers getting sent over, all right? The whole of the Navy. All right, so just understand where we're at. Total and utter complete domination over the Strait of Hormuz, which was always in the palms of the Iranian regime of terrorists to forever have the ability to close. A lot of people are saying, well, why does Trump worry about opening up the Strait of Hormuz? Iran literally had it open before then. Yeah, but they could have closed it whenever they wanted to extort the entire world, because they're terrorists. And now they can't, because now it's ours. We are renaming it the Strait of Donald. And there's nothing you can do about it. Continue having sex with goats or something. And of course, Iran has suspended all petrochemical exports until further notice. Breaking news, they cannot actually export things anymore at all. You know, because they have no air force and they have no navy, and because they are totally blockaded and they are slowly dying. We started off by bombing them, sending them to a very quick demise. They screamed, they cried, they yelled. We don't even know who's in charge of the country anymore. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The rest of them are just going to be gargling slowly on their own blood, unable to make a living until they eventually get eaten from within. We have a lot to talk about today. So Donald Trump also, of course, wants to remind everyone, NATO wasn't there for us, and they won't be there for us in the future. It very much looks like he is planning on leaving NATO, which is awesome. I fully support it. I don't like the idea of funding 70% of the military of all of Europe. And then Europe not being there for us, and in fact, even more likely, allying up with our enemies. So yes, great, actually. I don't want to be in a NATO alliance with future Islamic countries like England or France, or current Islamic countries like Spain. Bro, this multipolar world is over. So Donald Trump made this tweet, and this scared the crap out of the Iranians. All right, so let me show you what losing means. All right, if you look up loser in the dictionary, you will see a big picture of the map of Iran with this tweet. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, China was Iran's biggest backer because China needs oil. They have no natural oil, basically. And they have been importing all of their oil from Iran, or at least a large amount of it. I am doing it for them, also the world. All right, so just understand. He is not doing this for China. He is not doing this for China at all. You see, China really hates this a lot, but there's really nothing they can do about it, because they would get absolutely Swiss cheesed by the United States military if they actually wanted to get involved. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. Remember, this is Iran's biggest backer, backstabbing them just because they want to be friendly and cuddly-wuddly with the United States. This is being a powerhouse. This is what happens when you're the most powerful country on the planet, and you're not afraid to swing your dick around, but you're not afraid to acknowledge that, and you don't have to commit ultimate jihad, all right, suicide yourself like Europe did. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. Holy shit. We are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? But remember, we are very good at fighting if we have to, far better than anyone else. Dude, this tweet is actually like fucking insane. Yeah, so if you look up loser in the dictionary, gigantic picture of Iran with this tweet on it. Like Iran's allies backstabbing them just because they want to be friendly with us. This is Trump basically doubling down that we completely dominated China here.
You've got a major meeting coming up next month with President Xi. I want to get your take on China and how this shift in oil, particularly because of Iran, particularly because of Venezuela and what you've done, even your comments on Cuba.
Think about how insane it is, man. You know, China needs Cuba, needs Venezuela, needs Iran, and all of a sudden they're all falling apart. Wow, 5D chess, for real, for real. This is like the 200 IQ plan, and everyone's like, Trump is just dumb and stuff. Completely toppled the old order and put us as the top dog on the planet, like by a long shot.
How does that change the dynamic of this meeting with President Xi?
It means we have all the leverage, but Trump doesn't actually want to say that, probably.
I think it does. I mean, he's somebody that needs oil. We don't.
True.
He's somebody I get along with very well. Just
We're
wrote a
besties.
beautiful letter.
He wrote you a letter?
Yeah, he did. He responded to a letter that I wrote because I had heard that China is giving weapons to. I mean, you're seeing it all over the place to Iran. That China's
Did he
giving
say he's
weapons.
giving them?
Yeah, and I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that.
Hey, hello, Mr. Xi. You're looking good. Have you lost weight? Anyway, stop sending weapons to Iran, or we will kill you. Oh, God. We will end the civilization. Yours truly, the Donald.
And he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
Okay.
Folded like a MacBook, brother. Oh my God. So anyway, complete and utter Chinese dominated. It's truly incredible. Now, Trump is beefing with everybody these days. And the scariest part is he's actually winning, which is horrifying. So Trump made this tweet. Well, someone please tell Pope Leo that Iran has killed at least 42,000 innocent, completely unarmed protesters in the last 2 months, and that for Iran to have a nuclear bomb is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter. America is back, President Donald J. Trump. The truth is he's right, because the Pope, who condemns Trump for all sorts of things, he condemned Trump for capturing Maduro. Like, what are we doing here? Maduro was a dictator communist who was torturing his own people, who was sending drug boats into our country. Of course he captured Maduro, and it was awesome. It was incredible, and the Pope condemned him for that. But the Pope didn't condemn Iran for massacring 42,000 plus of their own people. Unarmed people, just massacring them in the streets. He had nothing to say about that. It seems like the Pope has an agenda, and a lot of people started memeing on the Pope too. When Muslims destroy Europe, nothing to say. When Muslims slaughter Christians in Africa, nothing to say. When Muslims burn churches worldwide, nothing to say. When America bombs Muslim countries, the Pope gets involved. You know, a lot of people started noticing that there's something weird going on. Donald Trump made another tweet. He quoted this tweet saying, it's fascinating to see what social media reveals about a person before they become the Pope. Before he became Pope Leo, Cardinal Robert Prevost was on Twitter trashing Trump, criticizing Vance, calling for open borders, promoting COVID vaccines, endorsing stricter gun control, and tweeting after George Floyd, we need to hear more from leaders in the church to reject racism and seek justice. The account was deleted the day he was elected. And Donald Trump retweets this, saying, not good. Bro is beefing with the woke Pope. What are we doing on the timeline? So this went incredibly viral. So I feel like I have to talk about this because this is basically saying what I said in my previous video and what a lot of people are thinking. So the Pope met with David Axelrod last week. David Axelrod, Obama's campaign architect, a man who is not Catholic, has never met a pope before, and whose entire career is engineering political narratives for the American left. And then, by pure coincidence, the Pope immediately started lobbing shots at the Trump administration, and 3 U.S. cardinals popped up on 60 Minutes doing the same thing. All organically, I'm sure. I'm a practicing Catholic. I need you to understand that part, but in my opinion, Trump has all the right to lash out at him. Maybe you'll disagree, but in the end, Trump talks like Trump. Water is wet. I'm talking about my church being run like a DNC satellite office with a golden throne. But this is the same Vatican that watched the governments padlock churches during COVID and said nothing, that let Biden take communion while funding abortion and said nothing, that fired Bishop Strickland for defending the actual church doctrine, that removed Bishop Fernandez in Puerto Rico for defending religious exemptions the catechism itself supports. But somehow, Trump is the threat to human dignity. Pope Francis was bad. Leo has turned out to be worse. Francis at least was vague about his politics. Leo went in and hired the consulting firm. The man ignored the slaughter of Christians across Nigeria, the Sahel, India, Syria, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Hundreds of believers murdered, churches burned, pastors kidnapped. His response, platitudes about dialogue. Of course, he won't even name who's doing the killing. No, in fact, he has to say that, Catholics and Muslims have to get along. But he'll fly across continents to make interfaith gestures the week after the people coordinated a media hit on a sitting U.S. president. The weaponization of belief is obvious. You get the Pope to pick a fight with Trump, and suddenly millions of conservative Catholics have to choose between their faith and their vote. It seems like there's a crazy Bolshevik-style infiltration going on, and it seems like it's working. But honestly, the ultimate W of the day has to come from Tom Homan. So this is the border czar, and he is a Catholic man. And they asked him about Trump's beef with the Pope, and his response was incredible.
I'm not going to speak for the president, I'm speaking for myself, a lifelong Catholic. I wish they stay out of immigration. They don't know what they're talking about. Because if they wore my shoes for 40 years and talked to a 9-year-old girl that got raped multiple times, or stood in the back of tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old boy that baked to death, if they understood the atrocities that happen on an open border, I think their opinion would change. And I welcome a discussion with any of them because they don't understand. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. What President Trump had the most secure border in the lifetime of this nation right now. Lives are being saved. He's saving thousands of lives a year because he has a secure border. Human traffickers are out of business, right? The cartels are going bankrupt because of that secure border. I wish they'd understand that, because if they did, I think they have a different opinion.
I'll be honest, I wish they actually engaged in conversations, because it's really easy to shout platitudes from your throne and not actually engage with any form of pushback whatsoever. It's really, really easy. Never respond to any criticism, just sit there and lob out your platitudes, and honestly, you just move on from there. So there's something really suspicious going on, trying to crush us from all sides, and it's really scary. From my perspective, the fact that I never saw a Pope criticize the Democrats, and these guys have literally been introducing the most heinous, demonic policies in the history of the world. The mass murder of children through abortion, 1 million babies murdered a year in the United States of America alone, meant to deafening silence from the church. And I don't mean individuals in the church. Individuals in the church are some of the loudest voices fighting for justice in the world. But for some reason, it seems like on a really high level, there's been some sort of crazy infiltration going on. As you can see, this tweet alone got 173,000 likes. But anyway, back to what's going on in Iran, because this is a war on multiple fronts. There were multiple car bombs going off in Tehran, and it was not Mossad because there's a ceasefire, and we know that Iran, if it was Mossad, right, if it was Israel or America, Iran would be screaming that we violated the ceasefire. But it wasn't. Right? So obviously, it seems like it's little resistance groups in Iran actually fighting back. Last night, a group of masked Iranians assassinated Mohammad Shira Mohammadian. He was the commander of a Basij base in Tehran's District 18. We are seeing a rise in activities of resistance groups inside Iran. So while we are strangling them economically, obliterated their actual military, these people are getting fucked from within, and it's insane. So we are, in fact, witnessing a realignment of the entire world.
They said the president had no plan to secure the strait, and looks like it's going pretty well.
Never listen to a panickin, Jesse. You will do very well in life. Ignore the panicins, right? They were the ones who warned of calamity in Venezuela.
True.
And ended up being one of the greatest single foreign policy, military, geopolitical maneuvers in world history. What you're watching now in Iran with the implementation of this blockade is the total resetting of the American power dynamic for the next 100 years.
Keep spinning,
President Trump is saying, we, the United States,
that's right,
have the world's not just most powerful military, most powerful Navy. And whoever controls the seas is able to control the outcomes in any foreign policy showdown.
That's right.
And so President Trump has put Iran in a box. He's played the checkmate move, and so now, no matter what path Iran chooses, America wins. If Iran chooses the path of a deal, then that's great for the world, that's great for everybody. If Iran chooses the path of economic strangulation by blockade, then the world will pass Iran by. New energy routes will be established, new supply chains will be established.
That's right, and we're just going to become an economic superpower selling oil to the entire world. We already are.
other nations throughout the region, throughout the world, and especially America.
United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, they'll be more than happy to pick up the slack. Iran, you could drown and gargle in your own blood all you like.
Will power the world, and Iran will become a footnote. So that's the choice Iran has, and President Trump has put America into a win-win.
Yeah, this is like an actual checkmate. This is like when you're playing tic-tac-toe and you double-trap your opponent. Like, it's unbelievable witnessing this actually come together while all the retards were saying it's an unwinnable war. We're going to lose millions of people. It's going to be a 10-year-long regime change, boots-on-the-ground conflict where we lose inevitably. Where are all the Pakistani dumb fucks with their AI-generated videos saying Iran is secretly winning the war? I have just come out incredibly vindicated saying that there was a plan the entire time. It's honestly insane. If you look back at my videos covering this war, I just come out like it looks like I'm a super genius. And I'm not. I'm just surrounded by idiots. Idiots! Like, I'm literally in a sea of retards saying things that are semi-coherent, and it makes me look like a fucking genius. You know, my favorite part about this entire situation is that I fully acknowledge that America is the good guys here and that Iran is the bad guys, and therefore it's really nice that the good guys are obliterating the bad guys. You see a lot of people that just don't understand that. They think they can call you a hypocrite. They'll be like, isn't it hypocritical that America can have nukes but Iran can't? No, we're the good guys and we're killing the bad guys, so fuck you. Like, bro, I don't even want to have this discussion. Just in, U.S. Treasury Secretary Besson says China will no longer be able to get oil from Iran. Oh my God. No wonder why they are now our best friend all of a sudden and backstabbing Iran. So they actually got Besant to address the press. The press keep asking him questions and he just slaughtered them.
Measure, and the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
And that pressure is already adding up. According to the Foundation for the Defense of...
Yep. And there it is. Look at that. That's the cost of the blockade on Iran. $435 million a day. Oh, my God.
Democracies. The blockade itself could cost Iran $435 million a day.
That's $13 billion a month just by us blockading them. And don't worry, guys, because we're just going to sell all that oil instead. Everyone will be fine. Chill out, guys. Chill out, right? So everyone's, so you have to understand how evil the press is. So you think that the press is going to be like, well, we were wrong when we said that if Trump was losing this whole time, Trump was actually winning. You are not ready for the level of retard you are about to hear. And that's why you have me, this blue retard, to sum up all the other retards and bring them to you.
The sanctions waivers have expired, but how much money did Russia benefit from that temporary sanctions rules? You initially said about...
Get ready for this. This is, look at his face.
$2 billion, is that?
It could have been $2 billion.
Just understand how retarded this question actually was. All right, get ready. By the fact that oil prices are going down, doesn't it benefit Russia? Literally, holy shit, these people are fucking retarded.
We don't know, but again, let's think of a different world where oil spiked to 150, and they would have made a lot more. By doing that, by pushing the Russian barrels that were already on the water, they were going to be sold, they were going to China no matter what, we pushed them to our allies, we helped stabilize the oil price, and as you can see, there were doomsday scenarios. Oil's going to 150, it's going to 200, it's going to $250. West Texas crude for the front month delivery is about $92 or $93 now.
Right, so oil prices go down. Oh my God, that means Russia's gonna have cheap oil. Oil prices go up. Oh my God, Trump is causing some sort of catastrophe. Like, dude, these people are actually fucking evil. It's insane. They're not just retarded. They're also evil.
And I think that's not a correct characterization. Yesterday, we announced Operation Economic Fury, and we, for over a year, we have had maximum pressure on the Iranians, both on blocking payments into the Iranian state and going after the accounts of the IRGC. One of the proved to be fatal mistakes that the Iranians made was bombing their GCC neighbors, and who are now willing to be much more transparent in terms of the funds or do a deeper dive in
There it
investigating
is.
the funds that are held within their banking system.
Yeah, so Iran, absolute dipshit terrorists, bombed all of their neighbors, and then all of their neighbors were like, you know what, we're going to give the United States all the information on exactly how much money Iran has literally everywhere. So what it seems like is actually happening is we are freezing up Iranian assets around the world, not just in American banks, but in banks in all of the Gulf countries that are now our actual allies, right? And China is getting really scared about this.
50% tariff against China still on the table now, or is the letter exchange that we talked about now taking that off of the table?
Well, as you know, the president spoke about the letter with respect to he and the correspondence between he and President Xi. President Xi assured the president that they are not supplying Iran with weapons throughout this conflict, and that assurance was made to the president. It's obviously something the administration keeps close tabs on with respect to tariff. You have any update on that, Mr. Secretary?
I don't have an update on the tariffs, but I do have an update on sanctions. Iran is or used to be the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
True, fuck those
China
guys.
is purchasing more than 90% of their oil, which is about 8%
True.
of China's energy needs.
True.
We believe this blockade in the Straits, there will be a pause of Chinese buying, but I will tell you that 2 Chinese banks received letters from the U.S. Treasury. I'm not going to identify the banks, but we told them that if we can prove that there is Iranian money flowing through your accounts, then we are willing to put on secondary sanctions.
Damn, bro. Like, dude, China on notice. If we find out you're getting any money from America, well, that's it. We're going to sanction the shit out of you. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. And the United Arab Emirates, right? Arabs in the Middle East, which are, you know, close allies of ours right now through all this, you know, bonds forged in terrorists trying to fucking kill us, I guess, are more than happy to help us blockade Iran.
The third day of the American blockade here on the Persian Gulf behind me. So far, no reports of any major incidents, but on the topic of the 2 weeks...
No major incidents means Iran are gigantic pussies, and they're not willing to test the blockade because they know they will become underwater confetti, and they really don't like that idea at all. You see, despite the fact that they constantly scream at the top of their lungs, we are going to blow ourselves up for God and then have sex with children for eternity in heaven, they really don't seem to want to commit. But don't worry, we're here to help.
Ceasefire that we're in the midst of. A short while ago, a senior U.S. official telling Fox News that the United States has not formally agreed to an extension of the ceasefire. There is continued engagement between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal. Now, a short while ago, also, the BBC reported that the Iranian military is threatening to block shipping in the Persian Gulf.
I love how the BBC, the British broadcasting cucks, are literally just extended Iranian state propaganda. Just actually running defense for these guys constantly, and it's just humiliating them because it's like, Iran threatens to obliterate America, and then Iran just fucking dies instead.
At sea and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues. The U.S. says it's not allowing any ships in or out of Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz, but it is allowing other ships to use the strait. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper writing in full, a blockade of Iranian ports has been fully implemented as U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea.
That's right.
In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. Now, Kepler reports that yesterday 3 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and Fox confirms a 4th ship, a Chinese vessel carrying oil and chemicals, passed as well. Now, President Trump posted the truth within the past hour. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well.
What a big
Doesn't
fat
that
hug.
beat fighting? Now,
wow, what a wholesome, benevolent guy. I'm sure the Pope would immediately come out to say, wow, what a wholesome, benevolent guy. He's even going to give a big fat hug to President Xi. So yeah, that's crazy, actually. And the funny part is, it seems like the UAE has been vocal about doubling down the relationship with the United States.
Here in the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia is pressuring the United States to drop the naval blockade, fearing it could cause the situation with Iran to escalate. or further disrupt shipping routes. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report. Now, the UAE, the country that we're in, they have been very vocal about doubling down with their relationship with the United States and said they would even stand by the United States if force is used out on the Persian Gulf.
Damn.
Dana, Bill?
That is crazy. All right, so this is wild. So we are actually, this is peace through strength, ultimately. You know, eliminating a potential nuclear threat and making friends with, like, all these, like, hostile people, like across the world. This is the ultimate peace through strength. And just to understand the level of economic collapse we're actually seeing in Iran, let me show you. The Iranian rial is currently 0.00 US dollars. Oh my fucking god, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, so obviously economy not doing so well over there. I wonder if we had anything to do with it. Some Iranian Islamic glazer bot decided to dive in and do his absolute best to say that's fake news. It didn't drop to 0.00 because you see, for a mere 1,316,125 Iranian rial, you could buy one United States dollar. So it technically didn't fall down to 0. It just fell down to 0.000001. W. Let's fucking go, guys. Let's go, Iran. And just to everyone retarded in the audience that are terrified that Trump is not going to keep up his quota of capturing El Presidentes, U.S. reportedly preparing plans for a possible operation in Cuba, awaiting Trump's orders. So we are going to be getting an El Presidente every month, it seems, whether you like it or not. But to all the panicans, all the doubters, all the retards, the libtards, the dumb fucks, the Islamist dick suckers, the AI sloppers, and the third worlders, you got played. This was an absolute colossal America victory. And we did it because we're the fucking good guys. You might not like that. You might not even agree, but your opinion means nothing to me.